सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। हरिः ओम् श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्. In the previous class, we have completed SradhatrayaVibhagaYoga. Today, we are taking up the summary of Chapter 17, SradhatrayaVibhagaYoga. This is in the third Shatkam. In the first three chapters of this third Shatkam, that is 13, 14, 15, Paramatma taught Atma Bodha. He explained Atma Jnanam. And only through Atma Jnanam you can get liberation, the internal freedom. This Atma Jnanam is a necessary sadhana. Atma Jnanam is necessary for a sadhaka to get out of samsara. For samsara vimukti, that is called moksha. This self-knowledge is the only method. The samsara means it will be binding, it makes you insecure, and it gives you a kind of unhappiness. And all these things we have already explained what is samsara. Samsaram dukkhalayam. That is the definition given by Paramatma. So if you want to come out of this, then the Atma Vidya, the self-knowledge, is the only method. So every person, he wants to uplift or he wants to elevate himself from his very stage. It may be from economical stage, it may be educational, it may be body-wise, so it may be emotional, whatever may be or intellectual. He wants to always grow to a higher stage. Nobody is happy with whatever they have. So this is the human tendency. So this is what we call the struggle. The struggle itself is called samsara. This is an endless fight, endless ordeal. So only if you have the self-knowledge, this kind of rat race, this kind of struggle will truncate. So this self-knowledge is given by Paramatma in chapter 13, 14 and 15. So he wanted to focus that by Atma Jnanam you can get rid of samsara. For samsara nasana, for the destruction of samsara, the powerful weapon is Atma Jnanam. So, but there is one small obstacle. Atma Jnana will not yield the proper benefit unless and until you are qualified to acquire Atma Jnana. So to get qualification, you have to toil a lot. You have to do a lot of, you have to put a lot of efforts. You have to make your mind ready, and you have to, purify your mind. That is what we call samskruta manaha and samsiddha manaha. The preparedness and the purification both are required. So this is what we call jnana yogyata. That is the qualification for jnana. So for jnana yogyata prapti, he has dedicated, Paramatma dedicated 2 chapters specially, that is chapter 16 and 17. So in chapter 16 and 17, the very essence of these chapters is jnana yogyata prapti. That is the qualification for acquiring jnanam. Jnana yogyata, if you want to get, what are all the sadhanas you have to undergo? What are all the sadhanas you have to perform? So these are mentioned here in these 2 chapters. For Jnana Yogyata, there are so many names. We will just mention few of them. One is called Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti. Then Guna Brahmanatvam, Satvika Buddhi. Like that, there are many names. In this particular chapter, we call it Sattva Gunam or Satvika Buddhi. So, this Satvika Buddhi means to have that Sattva Guna Pradhana mind. If you have the Sattva Guna Pradhana mind, you are qualified for Jnana. This is what we have to understand. Satvika Buddhi means you should have the value-based life. That is, very natural to a spiritual sadhaka. So, Satvika Buddhi is one who has got Sattva-guna pradhana mind. Such people are naturally, they are dharmic in their actions. So they naturally follow the value-based life. So they are not subject to any kind of pressure, any kind of turmoil, any kind of mental depression and all that. They are always calm and they have the tranquility of mind. So in that state of mind, they can absorb the knowledge very quickly. So this is what we have to understand. So they can digest jnana, they can digest the self-knowledge very quickly. So if you don't have the sattva guna, then you cannot internalize the self-knowledge. On the contrary, it will be counterproductive. So it is, it will not give you any kind of benefit. So such a person who is not sattvic, naturally he is not attracted towards the self-knowledge or towards the jnanam. So he is always into the karma yogam and the upasana yogam. So only for those who are having the ready mind, samsiddha manaha and samskruta manaha, the purity and the readiness in the mind is the prerequisites for jnana. So if you don't have this kind of sattva-guna pradhana, then you will not relish the jnana. You will not accommodate this. In no time you will go away from the spiritual path, especially the self-knowledge. So even if by chance a person who is not having sattva-guna happen to listen to Vedanta, so he cannot understand, he cannot accommodate jnana. Even by Guru Krupa or Guru's glory, he can understand the jnanam, he can understand the very essence of the self-knowledge, but it will not stay as a nishtha for him. It will not yield any benefit. It will not give any kind of transformation in him. So it is of no use. So Paramatma wants to alert, wants to highlight or wants to caution sadhakas that the prerequisite qualification is very, very necessary to acquire the benefits of jnana yogam. So the sattva-guna pradhana buddhi is very important. So to acquire this buddhi, he has given various qualities and how to acquire and all that. So he allocated, out of 18 chapters, he allocated 2 chapters specially for acquiring jnana yogyata. He mentioned in 16th chapter Daivi Sampatti and Asuri Sampatti. So those qualities which you have to acquire, those qualities which you have to avoid, he categorized and gave it in the 16th chapter. So in this chapter, also the topic is same, but the topic prepares you for jnana, and it makes you ready to acquire the knowledge. The same thing he highlighted in a different angle. So the Sattvika Manaha is the mind which is ready and which is qualified. So from a mind which is Rajasic and Tamasic, if one converts into Sattvic, it is called the ready mind and the Samskrita mind. Samsiddha and Samskrita mind. Therefore, Arjuna, if you want to acquire moksha, first of all, you should have the maturity and purity and the wide and the the open mind for getting the knowledge. So these two chapters are important. If you acquire these qualifications, you can easily internalize the knowledge. Therefore, both the chapters are very, very important. So these chapters are not simply academic chapters. They have to be internalized. They have to be followed throughout the life. So this is what we have to understand. These are the two chapters wherein you have to practically, imbibe these qualities and live with it, so that you can get the full benefit of this knowledge. So if somebody goes and asks Swamiji, I know what you are talking, what you are explaining, I can understand 100%, but I am not getting the benefit. Then immediately Swamiji says, then you study chapter 16 and chapter 17 and try to improve your value system. So this is what our Swamiji advises for those who say, I am not benefited. So whatever be the values suggested in this must be my values. If there is a distance between the values and my lifestyle, then I must relook and try to focus on these values and try to imbibe them as a part of my life. So with this background, we'll try to understand the summary of this chapter. So this entire chapter is triggered by a question by Arjuna. So in the beginning of this chapter, Paramatma gave this suggestion, that is tasmat shastram pramanante karyakarya vyavastito jnatva shastra vidanoktam karma kartu viharhasi. This was the 24th sloka in the previous chapter. Paramatma said, you have to take Shastra as a pramana and you have to follow Shastra and then take up your actions. The karmas ordained by Shastra, you have to do it. The Nishiddha karmas, you have to, the prohibited karmas, you have to avoid. This is what Paramatma said. Then Arjuna posed a question. It is very difficult for the majority of the people to know the Shastra. Shastra exposure is not there for a good number of people. But they have faith in God. They have faith in the value system. So they do puja, and if they are not following the Shastric injunctions, if they do not know the modus operandi prescribed by Shastra, the mode of doing puja and other things, they may not know the very system, but they have the faith in their mind. They follow God, they believe God, and they do puja with innocent mind. So if that be the case, how do you categorize them as Sattvic puja, Rajasic puja, or Tamasic puja? So this question triggered Paramatma to answer and to give this entire chapter. So, Paramatma initially said that they all have that good faith, and they pray God with sincerity and devotion. Then for this majority of the people, we can divide the Shraddha into three types. That is SradhatrayaVibhagaYoga. This is taken up from sloka number 1 up to sloka number 6. Then he further mentioned 4 different topics, and based on this Shraddha, what type of Shraddha they have, based on this, he divided the entire chapter into 4 categories. So they fall into 4 categories. So we'll see what are those categories. Then the third topic is Om Tat Sat, the expansion or the explanation of Om Tat Sat. Coming to the first topic, the SradhatrayaVibhagaYoga, which is explained from sloka 1 up to sloka 6. So Paramatma is dividing Shraddha into 3 categories. SradhatrayaVibhagaYoga. So those who do not know, who are not knowledgeable about Shastra, the Shastric injunctions, they are not aware. Then they cannot do it in a Shastric manner. In a scriptural oriented manner, they cannot perform their puja and yajnam and yagam, they cannot perform. They can do simple puja, daily puja, in their own manner. So, if that be the case, how to assess whether their Shraddha is Sattvic, whether their Shraddha is Rajasic or Tamasic? For that, Paramatma has given 3 different parameters. Based on these parameters, you can define whether the Shraddha is Sattvic or Rajasic or Tamasic. The first parameter is the Devata, the deity to whom the puja is performed, to whom the offerings are made. If they are attracted to Sattvic Devatas, like Rama, Krishna, Devi, all these Puranic Devatas, then they want to have spiritual growth, then it is called the Sattvic Karma or Sattvic Shraddha. If they have Rajasic Devatas, like Yaksha, Kinnara, Gandharva, like that, they have, and they want mundane comforts, and they want all kinds of benefits in this very world. So such devatas to whom they perform the pujas, they are called Rajasic Shraddha. The Shraddha is called Rajasic. Then, if the puja is performed to ulterior, devatas like Bhuta, Preta, and Dakini, Shakini, like this, are all kinds of demons. If they worship, that too for ulterior motives, then this Shraddha is called Tamasic in nature. So based on the Devata, we can define whether the Shraddha is Sattvic, Rajasic or Tamasic. Then Prakaraha, the mode of doing their puja. So puja vidhanam. So based on that also we can say whether the Shraddha is Sattvic, Rajasic or Tamasic. So in this, the puja is mostly mental. It is not Kaika or Vachika. So if the puja is not uttered outwardly, then it is Manapradhana. It is more mind oriented. Then this is called Sattvic puja. In a Rajasic puja, a lot of pomp and show will be there, and lot many people are involved. Lot of hangama is there, they have the loudspeakers, and they do the puja with a kind of show and pomp. Then such puja is called Rajasic puja. Then Tamasic puja is the one which is done with hurting the body, either one's own body or the others. So such puja is called Tamasic puja. So depending on the mode of doing the puja, also we can define the puja or the Shraddha into Sattvic, Rajasic and Tamasic. Then Bhavana, the Sankalpa, with what type of desire they are doing. So if they take up this puja, if they take up this ritual for internal growth, for spiritual growth, then for spiritual upliftment, then it is called Sattvic puja. If they do it for mundane success, mundane pleasures, then it is called Rajasic. If they do this puja for the downfall of the other, for the destruction of others, then it is called Tamasic puja. So with this, Paramatma answered the question posed by Arjuna. But Paramatma, being compassionate, he wants to extend this idea. He is elaborating this, taking 4 different aspects and then defining them in these 3 categories. Each aspect he will define as Sattvic, Rajasic and Tamasic. So what are those aspects? We'll see. First aspect is Ahara. So based on the food one consumes, we can define the Shraddha as Sattvic, Rajasic and Tamasic. He has given various parameters. So what type of food you have to eat and what type of food you have to avoid. Like this, he has given varieties of instructions. Number of instructions he has given. So to understand this in simple way, our Swami Paramarthanandaji has given 5 simple principles, 5 simple sutras. If you follow these sutras, it is enough so that you can take this as Sattvic Ahara. So what are those sutras? The Sutram 1, the rule 1 is you have to avoid non-vegetarian. Then second sutra or Sutra 2 is you have to avoid intoxicating materials like alcohol and opium, like that. There are so many intoxicating things, you have to avoid them. Sutra 3 is avoid smoking. Then Sutra 4, don't eat too much. You should be moderate in your eating. Sutra 5, between food and food, don't take anything. So usually we take 4 times, that is the breakfast, afternoon lunch, then evening snacks and night dinner. So in between you should not take any kind of small snacks and all that. You should not keep on eating throughout the day. So this is what we have. So we have to follow these 5 conditions. Then yajna. Yajna means the divine yajna, which is Sattvic, Rajasic and Tamasic. If you do your ritual for the internal growth, for spiritual growth, for spiritual upliftment, then that yajna is called Sattvic yajna. Yajna is the second item Paramatma is discussing here. Then if you do the same yajna for your mundane growth, for your comforts, then it is called Rajasic yajna. If the same ritual is done with a mind that others must not grow, they should fall literally, they should be destructed. It is for the destruction of others you are performing the yajna. Then that yajna is called Tamasic yajna. If your yajna gives benefit to the society at large, it gives benefit to more people, then it is called sattvic karma. If it is only beneficial to the sadhaka, then it is called rajasic karma. If it is harming others, then it is called tamasic karma. So the third item is tapas, austerity. So Paramatma talked about aharam, food, and yajnam. Then he divided them into three categories: sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic. Here in this case, he made a fundamental division of austerity into two, and each one he is again dividing into three. So one is called karana drushtya division. Karana drushtya trividam tapaha. Then guna drushtya trividam tapaha. Karana drushtya means by instrument wise the austerity. So what type of instrument you use for austerity? So based on this, we can divide tapas into three categories. One is called kayikam, vachikam, and manasikam, manasam. So this is one division. The second division is gunadrushtya trividam tapaha. Depending on the sattvic tapas, rajasic tapas, and tamasic tapas. So this is what we have. So we are not going into the details of it. So if you follow a good thing in your life, you should have some control on your instruments. Only if you have control on the instruments, you can get samaha and damaha, the control on the indriyas, that is called damaha. Control on the mind is called samaha. So if you have the control, then your journey is smooth. Atmanam radhinam vidhi, shariram radhamevatu, buddhim tu saradim vidhi, mana pragrahamevacha, indriyani hayanyahu, vishayam teshu gocharan, atmendriya manoyuktam, bhoktetyahur manishinaha. In Kathopanishad it is said, he has given a drishtanta, that is a chariot drishtanta. In that, there are 6 items in the chariot. One is called the chariot itself, then the horses, then the reins, then the charioteer, then the owner who sits in the back seat, and the path. Then the comparison with the body. Radham or the chariot is compared with the body. Then the horses are compared with 5 panchendriyas. Then the reins are compared with the mind. Then Radhasaradi is compared with buddhi, intellect. Then Yajamani or the owner is compared with Jivatma. Margam, the path, is compared with Vishya Vastus. So, Shariram is subject to travel. Then these Indriyas will take you to the place where you want to go. Mind, it controls Indriyas, and Buddhi controls mind. Then Jivatma is the Chidabhasa. Then Vishaya Vastus are the Shabda, Sparsa, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. So these are the 5 Vishaya Vastus. So we have to have control on all this so that we can reach the destination we want to reach. So this is a beautiful analogy given in Kathopanishad. And in the same Kathopanishad, it is said that you should have a sharp mind in order to acquire self-knowledge. Because the subject is so subtle, unless you have a sharp mind, you cannot grasp the concepts. So, some people, they say by bhakti you can achieve moksha. Some people say by kundalini shakti you can achieve moksha. Some people say by dhyana you can achieve moksha. But Shastra says only by self-knowledge you can achieve moksha, because it is that bandhakatvam you have to avoid. Therefore, jnana devatu kaivalyam. Only and only by jnanam you can get moksha. That jnanam also by Sravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. There are three-tier method of learning self-knowledge. One is called Sravanam, another is called Mananam, then other is called Nididhyasana. In all three methods, you can acquire the knowledge and you can internalize and stay in that nishtha. So suppose you have the, all the elements are there, like body, indriyas, instruments, and mind and buddhi are there. They are not in harmony. They work independently without any harmony, without any teamwork. Then it goes topsy-turvy. Our Swamiji gives an example in a Sangeeta Kacheri, in a musical concert. Suppose the person who is singing, he is a great Vidwansa, he is a great person, and the instrumental person who is using the fiddle, he is also great. Then the mridangist is also great. So all top people are there in that kacheri. But if there is no synchrony, if there is no harmony in their kacheri, then it is very jarring. If the person sings in Sankarabharanam and the fiddle person, he takes Todi Ragam, and Mridangist will take Rupakatalam, then you can imagine the cacophony that is produced by this kacheri. It is not music. All three are hemahemis. All three are, they are stalwarts in their field, but there is no synchrony. There is no harmony. So it is not, palatable. It is not, melodious. It is a kind of cacophony. So same thing applies for the body also. So the body may be strong, the indriyas are very healthy, the mind is also calm, the buddhi, that is intellect, is also sharp, but there is no synchrony, there is no harmony. Then your knowledge will go waste. So all three must be in one line. All of them, all four of them, that is mind, that is body, instruments, mind and intellect, all four must be in one line. Then the fourth item is dhanam. Dhanam is, we have seen that charity. Charity is very much required. It is mentioned everywhere in the scriptures. So whatever you have to share with others. So this is not only the money. You can share your ideas. You can share your service. Like that, the charity is a very important, noble thing, which one should take it up. So this is beyond the religion, beyond the. So if the ashramas, they have to stay good, then they need the financial help from the society. So if you want to protect the tradition, you need to help these institutions. So if you want to protect the scriptures, you need to help them. So that way, your charity will help the people. Your charity will help the spiritual growth. So without asking, Paramatma has given all the four topics, that is aharam, yajnam, dhanam and tapas. So these are the four items discussed by Paramatma. Then comes the third topic, that is the final topic, that is Om Tat Sat Visleshana. So this is dealt from sloka number 23rd up to 28. So this is at the fag end of this chapter. Om Tat Sat, it has got three words, Om Tat and Sat. Om means the protector of this entire universe. Tat means aprameyam. Aprameyam means it is not measurable. It is not known by any instrument. Sat means existence absolute. So if you understand, if you bring all the three words together, then Paramatma is beyond the instruments. Paramatma cannot be seen, cannot be heard, cannot be available by the five sense organs. So Aprameyam, he is beyond all pramanas. So his existence absolute, and he is the protector of the entire universe. So this is what we have to understand. Then Om Tat Sat, we have seen five different aspects of this Om Tat Sat. The first one is Brahmanaha Nirdesaha. This has come out from the mouth of Chaturmukha Brahma. So he first uttered, and then it became a tradition. In every yajna, in every ritual, these ritviks, they use this word, Om Tat Sat. By uttering this, we can get good and auspicious results. Then he created three glorious things, three wonders. That is Yajnam, Vedam and Brahmana. Brahmana is a Sthitikarta for Vedam. If Brahmana is there, Vedam will be protected. Then Veda is a Sthitikarta for Yajnas. If Vedam is there, as long as Vedam is there, Yajnas are there. Yajna is the Sthitikarta for the entire universe. As long as Yajnas are there, this entire universe will go smoothly. So, all three were created by the Almighty. So, this mantra, Om Tat Sat, is a very powerful mantra. If you utter this, if your actions are rajasic or tamasic, they will be slowly converted into sattvic. So, Paramatma has given this beautiful mantra. This is what Shankaracharya says. This is called Sadgunya Sampadanam. Sadgunya means Sattvaguna. Sampadanam means it will transform. This very mantra will transform Rajasic and Tamasic karmas into Sattvaguna Pradhana. So, Om Tat Sat is a very powerful mantra. Before the ritual they utter, and at the end of each ritual they utter this. The same thing we are also doing at the end of the same thing. At the end of each chapter, we say Om Tat Saditi Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So, like that we have a end portion. Om Tat Sat Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpana Vastu. Om Tat Sat Sarvam Sri Brahmarpana Vastu. Like that, we can offer the entire work unto God. So, Krishna Paramatma, in this chapter 16 and 17, he has given very useful and healthy values. In 16th chapter, under Daivi Sampatti, he has given certain values which were given in the very first sloka of 16th chapter. Abhayam Sattva Samsuddhihi, Jnana Yoga Vyavastitihi, Danam Damascha Yajnascha, Swadhyayas Tapa Arjavam. So, in 16th chapter, he started giving the value system. He elaborated number of values. And he also mentioned Asuri Sampatti, which we have to avoid. In 17th chapter, he wanted to highlight the Sattva Guna. So, he wanted people to transform Tamasic to Rajasic, Rajasic to Sattvic. When you talk about this Daivi Sampatti and Sattva Guna and all that, immediately we will have a curiosity how to develop the Daivi Sampatti and how to drive away Asuri Sampatti. So for this, our Swamiji has given a small analysis by which we can achieve the Sattva-guna pradhana lifestyle and avoid all, asuri sampatti. So, it is not his own analysis. He borrowed from the scriptures where the ideas are strewn all over the scriptures. He collected them and he has given it as an essence. If you follow this, method, you can acquire Daivi Sampatti and avoid Asuri Sampatti. So he called it the 5-point formula. By following the 5-point formula, you can achieve Daivi Sampatti and avoid Asuri Sampatti. So we'll see what are the 5 points. The first point is Prardhana. Prardhana is the first method to acquire the value-based lifestyle, acquire the values. So Prardhana will work in 2 different ways. You can get Prardhana by praying God and asking God to give you values, to give you a value-based life. This type of system is there in our very tradition. Our elders always tell you, do puja, offer namaskara to God. Every day you have to offer namaskara to God and you pray God so that you are in the right path. So that is what we call Sattvika Buddhi. You seek Sattvika Buddhi by praying God. So in Upanishad, this portion is taken care by Santipata. Badram karne visruniyama devaha, badram pasyema kshidriya jatraha, sthire range tushtuvagum sastanubihi, vyasema devahitam yadayuhu, swastina indro vruddhasravaha, swastina pusha visvavedaha, swastina staksho arishtanemihi, swastino bruhaskatir dadatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sariram me vicharshanam jihva me madhumattama. So like this. For Vachika Tapas, this is a wonderful prarthana. So may my tongue be blessed with honey. This means it is not literally, you should have honey in your tongue. That means your words must be as sweet as honey. So you are praying, God, let me talk sweetly. You bless me so that I talk in a pleasing manner. So this is the prayer. Then second type of prayer is by praying all the good qualities of God, by mentioning all the noble qualities of God. The idea of praising God with all his noble qualities is not to act as a sycophant. It is not that Bhagavan wants your praise. He doesn't require your praise. Only thing is, when you praise God with all noble qualities so many times, slowly you imbibe those qualities. Slowly you try to acquire those qualities. Ramo Vigrahavan Dharmaha. So Rama is an embodiment of all dharmas. Sri Rama is an embodiment of all dharmas. So if you listen to this, you get Shraddha on the value system. In Ramayana, Valmiki gives number of values to Rama. Narada questions, is there anybody with these qualities? Then Valmiki tells Rama has got these qualities. So like this, you have a number of prayers wherein all noble qualities are mentioned. God's noble qualities are mentioned. Sarva Kalyana Guna Nilaya. This is the noble quality of the God. So by doing this kind of prarthana, you try to emulate God and acquire these noble gunas. noble attributes. Then the second thing is satsangam. By doing satsangam, by gelling with all good people and noble people and dharmic people, slowly you can develop the good qualities. You can develop their good activities and avoid your bad qualities. You call a sannyasi for bhiksha, and you ask him to talk. You ask him to give some suggestions for your life. So this way you can acquire noble qualities. Second method. First method is by prayer. Second method is by satsanga. The third method is sankalpa. So basically you should have mind. You should have readiness to acquire good qualities. That readiness must be within you. It should not be forced onto you. So if you have that Sat Sankalpa within you, you can definitely become a noble person, because you have a strong desire to become a dharmic person, to become a sattvic dominant person. So with that strong desire, you can slowly shed your bad qualities, and then you can become a sattvic person. Then Pratipaksha Bhavana. Pratipaksha Bhavana means bad qualities. That means the commenting and criticizing others and talk ill of others. This is a quality which most of the people possess. So if you have that, you should identify that and try to avoid that. So whomever you are criticizing, you should try to find out the good qualities in him or her, and then try to use those good qualities. Try to replace the bad qualities with the good qualities. This is called Pratipaksha Bhavana. So if you do this kind of thing, slowly you stop hating people. You start talking good of everyone. And this is called Apaisunam. So this is also mentioned in the chapter. So we have chapter 16. So we have that hatredness is totally avoided and it is replaced by compassion. Then the fifth and the final method is Vivekam. Vivekam means, which is a very difficult practice, but Vivekam is having control on the emotional mind. So you should try to analyze when you are getting emotion, when you are getting anger, when you are getting jealousy, when you are getting hatred. So these things you can try to analyze what are the bad qualities you have and try to avoid them as far as possible, or try to minimize them. Then there's one small technique. Whenever you are getting angry or whenever you are getting these bad emotions, then don't respond immediately. Press the pause button. Press the pause button and try to calm down yourself and try to analyze, and you can have a good response. You will not flare up. So you can make your mind calm and tranquil by pressing the pause button whenever you want to respond harshly. For that matter, do not respond spontaneously for anything. Give a pause and then talk. So this is a great practice by which you can have filters for your emotional mind. So if you have this pause button and think peacefully whether it is good for you to think in that direction or not, and then respond. Try to avoid anger, try to avoid jealousy, try to avoid hatred by using this pause button. So you can have healthy habits by doing this analysis, vivekam. So our Swamiji has given the 5-point formula. First one is prarthana, prayer. The second one is satsangam, that is moving with noble people and dharmic people, satsangam. Then sankalpam, the bhavana. Then that sankalpa must be satsankalpa. Then the fourth one is pratipaksha bhavana. You don't have any negative type of thinking on others. Then the fifth and the final one is vivekam. By using all these 5 techniques, you can definitely purify your mind and make your mind absolutely sattvic, so that from tamasic mind you can transform to rajasic mind, from rajasic mind you can transform to sattvic mind. Thereby you are qualified for jnana yogyam. You are qualified to acquire self-knowledge. So this is the thing. Om Tatsat Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.